Hello, Dr. Vicki Peterson here. I wanted to talk today about children and their behavior and their health. Kids are so amazing. Their bodies have such incredible recuperative abilities. We all do, truly, but when you're younger, even better. And too often kids are kind of ignored or not believed. And I get upset about that. So here's what I'm talking about. As parents come in and they say, oh, you know, he or she is complaining about tummy aches, but I talked to the teacher and they think, you know, that my child is just trying to get attention, and so I don't know whether to believe her or not, or believe him or not. And, you know, the child wakes up in the middle of the night with nightmares, but maybe they're just screaming because they want mom and dad to come see them. I don't find that that's the case. I mean, I would love to hear from you guys, and I think if, as a parent, you know, the only time a child gets attention is when they're sick, sure, you know, it's like, oh, I get ice cream when I'm sick, and I get to stay home, and mom stays home from work, and like we make it too much fun. I could see something like that occurring, but generally speaking, a child that is all of a sudden doubled over and says, my stomach hurts, it's because their stomach hurts. And if they wake up in the middle of the night screaming, it's probably because they had a bad dream, and or they're screaming actually because they're uncomfortable. And so I find that ignoring kids or thinking that there's some alternative reason other than actually a health problem is a mistake. So we should listen to our kids and really get to the root cause of their problems. So today I wanted to talk specifically about how gluten, which is a very, very common food sensitivity, the most common food sensitivity that we find, and all the various problems that it can create in children. Very easy to fix, so that's the good news, but the list can be certainly irritability, it can be skin rashes, it can be tummy aches, constipation, diarrhea, gassiness. I'm going to look at my list a little bit here. Headaches, on an extreme level, seizures. We've seen that highly associated with gluten. Anxiety and depression, or the moodiness, being hyperactive or being tired. So, you know, these are a lot of different symptoms, and they go on both extremes. So too much energy, too little energy, constipation, diarrhea. So I understand that this is quite a list, but it's true, and it's been validated that all of these various symptoms can be associated with a gluten sensitivity. Oh, the dark circles, the shiners under the eyes, or kids that are constantly congested and stuffy, failure to thrive when they're little so they're not gaining weight, or short stature. That's very common. My son, who is now almost 6'3", boy, he was 5'4" forever. We thought he would never grow, and then really got gluten out of his diet. Found out he was gluten sensitive, and really he was cheating too much. So got it out of his diet, and boy, he shot up. We've seen this a lot, actually. So it's nice when you can catch the child before they've fully matured and stopped growing, because you can really see some big stature increases when they start absorbing nutrients again. I think that was the sleep issues, nightmares I talked about, anxiety, depression. Yeah, that was my list. And so why is this? So gluten comes in, it creates inflammation in the gut, it can offset your ability to absorb nutrition, so you can get neurological symptoms, nervous system problems, hormonal problems as a result of that poor absorption. The body's not making the types of nutrients that calm the body, and so you have good sleep and happy mood, those kind of issues. And then also a failure to thrive or short stature. You're just literally not gleaning from your food all the nutrients that you need. Also, the inflammation gluten creates can cause what's called a leaky gut. That can later in life, or sometimes quite early in life, lead to autoimmune disease. Type 1 diabetes is associated with leaky gut. Celiac disease, of course, which is the autoimmune disease associated with gluten. Thyroid disease is another one. So the handling that leaky gut's important, not just from the autoimmune component, but also when it's too permeable, meaning leaky, inappropriate things can escape the gut, like infectious types of organisms. So you're putting the body at more stress as far as the immune system is concerned, and then the child immune system is not as strong, and they get sick more easily. So quite a cascade. I know I'm talking about 20 different things, but these are all things we've seen over the years, certainly have been very well documented, associated with gluten sensitivity. And so, you know, again, so easy to fix when you can simply do a test. Now, there's celiac panels, there's gluten sensitivity panels. The one we do here at the office, it's a blood test, but what's really great about it is it really looks at all facets of gluten. It's a very big protein, so you can have a sensitivity or you can have celiac disease, and the panel will give us a good idea of both. The problem with only looking for celiac disease is that the tests are not that sensitive, meaning a lot of degradation and a lot of destruction of the small intestine has to occur before the tests show positive. So it's like, well, there's a little inflammation, but not too bad, and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. Meanwhile, this is what I hear, which just tears my heart out, is these children are not healthy, and they're really suffering as we wait and wait and wait and wait for it to get so bad that finally the test is positive, or maybe it's never positive, but they really do have a problem with gluten. And that's just unfair, you know, the fact that we have to put it in this tiny little box named celiac disease in order for someone to go forward and change the diet is ridiculous. I just heard from a mom the other day. She said, you know, I spoke to a year ago. My son clearly does better off gluten, but now I'm pushing again, and his pediatrician is saying, well, we just really have to reintroduce it for 6 or 8 weeks. And she said, the kid gets so sick, like, do I really have to do that? And it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You already know what's going to happen. So there's other testing you can do. You can do genetic testing and see if you have the genes for celiac disease. You don't have to make your child eat something, or yourself for that matter, when you already know what's going to happen. It's like, it's also dangerous. Children and adults alike, you reintroduce gluten when you already know you have a bad reaction, and you can stimulate an autoimmune disease to occur. So it's a little Russian roulette, you know. It's not a lighthearted kind of thing. It's like, oh, well, I'll have a stomach ache. It goes way beyond that. So I digress there a little bit, but I did want to let you know that I do hear from parents literally all over the country, and they're so frustrated and they don't know what to do, and they're trying to be a good parent. And the other comment that I hear is like, well, I don't want to restrict my child when he or she really doesn't need to be restricted, you know. And I understand. I'm a mother of 3 kids. I know exactly what you mean about going to the birthday parties and the soccer games and all of that. And I had to restrict those 3 kids because they're all gluten sensitive, and so I know what that's like. But their health is so much more important, and they certainly were not socially maladjusted, and they had plenty of friends. And as they got older, they started to diagnose problems in their friends because they were so healthy and health conscious and aware. So no, it didn't, you know, scar them for life that they couldn't have, you know, the cake at the birthday party. We brought our own things, and they were happy and had a great time. And so that part of things is not nearly as difficult to circumvent as you might be concerned about. But what's the most ultimate and most important thing to know is if your child has any of the symptoms we just reviewed, let's find out why. And I'm not saying the only reason underlying all of those symptoms is gluten, but that's the subject of today's talk, and it certainly is known to cause all those symptoms. So, and if it's not that, it's something else, because, Your child shouldn't have tummy aches and shouldn't be constipated or have diarrhea and shouldn't have headaches and shouldn't wake up screaming in the middle of the night and shouldn't be irritable, and all of these things are not the way a child is supposed to be, and there's always a reason why. So that's what we specialize in. So it's almost August, we're getting ready to go back to school, and we want happy, healthy kids. We don't want them getting sick all the time and bringing it home and everybody else gets sick. So if you're local to us, definitely reach out. We can do a consultation and find out what your child needs to regain his or her most optimal health. And kids are fast. It doesn't take long to fix them up. And as I said, it's completely natural. What else? Yeah, and even if you're not local, reach out and we'll see what we can do to try to find you somebody locally, or we can do some long distance type of work as well. So that's on a case-by-case basis, so we'll see how it goes. But give us a call here at the clinic, 408-733-0400. Visit the website, rootcausemedicalclinics.com, and I'll see you soon.